Hey guys, what is up? This is Cody, or xCodeh. How's it going today? Hopefully everybody watching this video is having yourself a snazzy day. Let me know in the comments down below where you're watching the video from, inside or outside of the United States. Always love to know. On today's video is a continuation of the previous video about the time where I bought acid for the first time and got harassed, blamed by the cops. But thankfully, the jabroni manifestation was avoided. The dude who was breaking the fences on the bike path ended up getting caught, getting in trouble, so we were away from the situation at this point. We continued on over to the lake, and I saw a bunch of you guys liked this little drone footage of the lake. Here it is again, dude. Whoa. We ended up getting a ride back to one of my friend's house. It was me and two friends, and we had a plan to do this acid this night, and it was gonna be awesome. I was hyping it up because it was the same stuff that I had the first time I ever tripped, and that stuff was bananas. And for a limited time offer, for every like on this video, you can get one of these for your very self, delivered to your door in 3,000 to 5,000 business days. A crate of bananas just for you. So we got a ride, ventured off to his house, and about 7 or 8 o'clock that night, it was time. We each got a tab. I think we only did one tab each because, you know, we were really young, and I was a little nervous. They were a little nervous. I remember being more confident about this time than the first time, obviously, because I've done it once, and I was more on the excited side. But as we're sitting on this couch just watching TV, like 30, 40 minutes goes by, and at this point I'm expecting it to set on a little bit sooner than this, because previously, the first time, it was like 15 or 20 minutes. It was crazy how fast like the shit happened. I mean, it might have been because we were smoking a lot of weed at the same time, but I just started giggling like no other about 10, 15 minutes in. It was crazy. It was definitely not a full-on trip right away, but it was like I was feeling something. But this time, it was more of like, do you feel it, man? Do you feel it, man? No? Okay, shit. Maybe we just gotta wait like another 20 minutes. It's not like we had more because I had only bought 3 tabs. And I think about an hour, maybe an hour and a half goes by, and I'm like not feeling anything comparing it to the first time I'd done this. And this was like probably a couple weeks after I'd done it the first time, maybe even longer than that, a month or two. So it's not like I did it the next day and didn't feel the full effects or something, like I had a tolerance, because that just wasn't the case. So I started to get a little bit pissed off. Maybe the guy ripped me off or something. I didn't really know the guy who did it because I had to stay in the car because I was way too young to be dealing with all that. So I'm starting to have doubts, just doubts. And there's 2 couches in the setup we were chilling at, and one of my friends had a laptop on one, and he's on this like website where it was like a bunch of pictures of girls in your area, and you just say if they're hot or not, and just like swipe right or swipe left. It was a long time ago. I don't know what it was called. And I had never been on a website like that, so I was intrigued. I go over there and I'm like looking at this while he's swiping by, and he's like giggling to himself. So I'm like, are you feeling something, dude? Because I'm like almost sober. I don't feel like really anything. And he says something similar, like, nah, dude, I don't really feel much, but I'm just sitting here seeing him swipe, you know, picture after picture. And like, I'm starting to get a little bit confused, because as the people are going by in these pictures, their faces are starting to look more and more familiar. Like I'm like recognizing every single one, which would be impossible because it was like the whole state. It wasn't just my town or something. And I remember getting so confused because like their faces didn't match up to the bodies. And I'm like, I don't know. Acid in faces is the weirdest thing ever. Absolutely, like probably the most confusing, weirdest part about the entire thing is trying to look someone in the face. It just doesn't happen. I don't know. If you can, let me know, but holy shit, it's weird. So as soon as I realized that the face looks weird, I'm like, okay, this wasn't fake. I'm actually tripping a little bit, because that was one of the major parts of the first time I tripped. And I was looking at the fucking TV screen. All the faces on the movie were faces from my life, like people that I recognized, and it was like nuts. I'm kind of blending 2 trip stories into one here. So the next part I really remember. It was incredible. Just phenomenal. We all go into his kitchen, and he's got one of those fridges with the ice machine in it, and oh man, ice cold water. And it had the mode on the ice where it was like shaved ice. Dude, cold water was just something else. We're sitting there smoking cigarettes, drinking ice cold water, giggling. It's just great. But at the same time, I am slightly still disappointed. Like I'm still anticipating, like I'm waiting I almost still have the anxiety of waiting for the trip to like get crazy. But it was just so much more mild. So much more like if the last trip was 100% because it was damn near 120%. This was 30%. I was still feeling a little bit trippy. We were being really loud. My eyes were probably dilated, but it was light mode. So I remember whenever I'd do any drugs, even when I'd smoke weed with people sometimes, I would always be the person to be like, yo, you okay, dude? Are you okay? Like, I don't know why, because it sketches people out when you do that, but I would always ask. Like, I was like, yo, you doing okay? Are you high? Are you tripping? Like, but I remember being super concerned about one of my friends there because they were just silent. Like almost the entire time, silent. I think it got to a point where the ice trips, every time we'd go to the fridge, the great fridge adventure, to fill the chalice with ice and water, it got to a point where he just stayed back in the living room and like, it was almost like he was going to sleep. And I don't know if you could go to sleep when you're tripping, but that just sounds like Mission Impossible. And I remember asking him, are you okay? And you okay? He's like, yeah. Just really low energy, just not really having a good time, saying he didn't really feel anything. And that made me think even more, like maybe this is all in my fucking head. Like I gotta go look at myself in the mirror because I had heard that when you look at yourself in the mirror, it'll trip you out. So I go in the bathroom, I'm sitting there looking in the mirror, just like, and I look normal. Like nothing's changing. My eyes aren't warping off my face or seeing double or triple or anything. There's 6 clones of me just pop up out of nowhere. That's not what acid's like anyways, but either way. I remember being disappointed, but I definitely felt trippy. Like it felt like I wasn't sober. I was definitely tripping, but I just wasn't like the first time. So I was a little bit disappointed. You know, you can never go into it expecting to recreate a previous experience because it'll never happen. But I will say, when I left the bathroom and I went back to the living room, they had this like, I'm not sure how to describe this. I think it was maybe a coat rack key holder cabinet on the wall or something. And it had 4 squares of mirrors on both sides. And as I'm walking by, I'm like, let me give it one more shot. I look in the mirror and I look at myself and I'm like looking back and forth. And it just looks like my face is kind of waving. Almost like a camera on a really slow shutter speed, just like waving back and forth. That was the strongest visual I saw in the entire night. Other than the faces morphing on that website my friend was on. So this is where the trip gets a little weird. It really does. I walk back, sit back on the couch next to my friend. We're sitting there mindlessly watching probably Storage Wars or something on the TV. It's like midnight, maybe 1, 2, 3 in the morning at this point, middle of the night. And we just like start talking about random shit. Just like things we wouldn't talk about normally. Like we just could not stop talking. And I don't know how the conversation got to this. But we started talking about, like, almost talking shit, but, like, not talking shit. Like, it was more out of concern that the other friend that we were with, that was on the other couch, that was kind of, like, trying to go to sleep or something. I think he was taking a bunch of prescription medication at the time or something, and we were, like, talking like we knew what we were talking about or something. Like, yo, you gotta not do that anymore. You gotta, like, stop taking those. And, like who the fuck are we? Like, bunch of teenagers tripping on drugs, giving medical advice. I remember we could not leave the topic for some reason. Like, we just kept fucking talking about how this dude was prescribed medicine, how he shouldn't be or something. Like, we knew what we were talking about. It was ridiculous, and it got to a point where the dude started crying. I felt so bad. I'll never forget that feeling of just, like, I was confused. Like, I wasn't meaning to be hurtful or mean. I really thought I was like being helpful or like I was onto something. Like I had this idea. They're like, yeah, dude, you don't need those anymore or something. Like it was really weird. I remember going over to him and be like, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that at all. Like I felt terrible that he was crying. Like but I was so fucking confused. That was definitely probably around the peak because I just, it's like a mental trip or something. So after that, I remember going back on the other couch, and this is where it gets a little bit more positive, I guess. The other dude is like actually asleep at this point, and it's just me and my other friend chilling on the couch, and we're watching this ridiculous show. Probably the best show in the world that you could watch on acid. I don't know if it's called The Cat Whisperer, but it's like a cat version of The Dog Whisperer. This guy going around to angry, untrained cats and trying to make them nice again. And he's got this guitar case, and it's just... I don't know why it's a guitar case, but it's just filled of cat toys, catnip, and all this like stuff to train cats, and I could not stop laughing. It's like 5 in the morning, it's TLC show, this guy going around, cats just beating the shit out of him, and he's just like pulling out this guitar case of all these toys, like, oh my god. So both of my friends said they weren't really tripping that night, comparing it to other times. I thought I had like a minor trip, to say the least. The crazy part about my friend that was like sleeping, we thought he was sleeping. The medicine that he actually was on, I believe it was SSRIs or something, and I believe that that's not good to take with acid. He thinks, looking back on it, it could have been serotonin sickness or something, which is really dangerous, really fucking dangerous. So definitely research anything like this before you do it. You know, it's just your fucking body, you could die and shit. So yeah, that's probably why he was quiet, and I'm fucking really glad he was alright. Truly, like, that's scary as fuck. I have to say, it was definitely the weirdest acid trip. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. Well, I wouldn't say it wasn't good. It just wasn't like, the best acid trip ever that I don't think I've told it on my channel since the smiting of YouTube, since I had to delete all my videos and shit. So I'll have to get to that in a future video. Let me know by leaving a like on the video if you guys like the trip stories. I don't have too many more. All right, I kind of stopped doing psychedelics about like 8 or 9 years ago, I believe. It's not necessarily something I'm interested in right now, but I will say, before this video ends, please listen to this bit of advice. Don't go out and do something like this because you watched a YouTuber tell a story about it. That's pretty stupid. If you're ever in a situation where you're about to do something in any category of drugs, please get a test kit and make sure it's not something wild, because you can easily lose your life. And you gotta be safe, all right? I was a stupid 15-year-old jabroni. Could have died easily. This could have been some crazy research chemical, but PSA over. Be safe. Don't be sorry. Have a snazzy day. Huge thank you to everybody supporting me on Patreon. I'll put a list of all the names on screen right now. For $1 or $2 a month, you can support the channel and get access to the secret, unlisted videos that I've been making over on Patreon. Link in the description for more information. The friend that was on the other couch that ended up getting super upset when we were just talking way too much about his life for no reason, he doesn't remember it at all. The entire night, blank. Doesn't remember it. I've asked him like here and there for details to make this video, and he just blank. Completely blank. I don't know if it had something to do with the medicine he was taking, plus the acid, plus just sleeping or something, but yeah, no recollection of the night. So at least he doesn't remember it, okay? Hopefully he's not watching this video right now, but hey, sorry dude if you are. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Check out the merch in the description below. Follow my cat on Instagram. Stay high, stay lifted, and stay snazzy.